Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and in this video we are going to make what just may be my new favorite recipe, pork belly burnt ends. With a name like pork belly burnt ends, I don't know that I need to do much more in the way of describing what this is all about, aside from the fact that it takes two of my favorite things, pork belly and burnt ends, and marries them up. Like last week's shrimp video, this one was also shot on the fly with my iPhone, and then, I'll tack on the intro and outro on this, as well as do the voiceover work. But I find that shooting videos this way just makes things a lot easier. I can be a lot more fluid as I'm making a recipe, and frankly, I enjoy that. I had originally planned on shooting this video on July 4th, but I had seen the weather forecast called for rain, so instead I filmed it on the 3rd. The plan was I would kind of par bake, or par smoke if you will, these pork bites, or these pork belly burnt ends, and then finish them on the 4th. And it's a good thing I did, because not only did it wind up raining, my 6-week-old master-built electric smoker also died. And depending on how well they managed to resolve that issue for me, that may be an upcoming review video. So with that out of the way, let's get to making some pork belly burnt ends. So while I had planned to finish the pork belly in my electric smoker, I did the initial smoke in my Kamado Joe. I'm using hardwood charcoal here. And while that heats up, I'm going to cut up 2 pounds or about 1 kilogram of pork belly. I'm cutting these into about 1.5 inch cubes, so between 3.5 and 4 centimeters. Then I'm going to take 1/3 of a cup, or about 50 grams, of my barbecue rub, which I will link to, and put that into a Ziploc bag, along with my pieces of pork belly. Seal this and give these a shake and a couple of flips just to make sure that every piece of pork is completely coated in the rub and there's really no extra rub left over in the bag. Then I'm going to add some wood chips to my fire here. I'm using apple wood. There is some debate in the barbecue community about whether you should use pre-soaked chips or just dry. I go with dry. Not really in the mood to argue about it, so let's not do that in the comments. I'll reassemble my smoker and put on the grate. And then I'm using a Pitmaster, I think it's the IQ 110 is the model. This has got a thermostat and a fan to regulate the temperature of my smoker here, so I don't have to play around with the vents. And I'm setting it for between 225 and 240. Looking good. All right, we are up to temp. We are at 225. I've got my pork belly in a grill tray for vegetables. You could use a wire cooling rack if you want and don't care that it's going to get all smoked up. After 4 hours, our pork belly is done, or done with the initial cook. Smell that?
Yeah. Delicious.
Wow. Look at that bark on there. Fat, just so soft. And we'll set these here and let them cool off for a little while. As I stated in the intro, I did half of this cooking process on July 3rd. Then I put all the little pork belly burnt ends into a Ziploc bag and they went into the fridge overnight. I decided that when I was going to reheat them, I would take an extra step, and this is completely optional. It might be interesting to see what happened if I didn't do this, but I reheated the pork bellies sous vide, and I did this at 170 degrees Fahrenheit or 77 degrees Celsius for about 4 hours. So it's raining outside at the moment, and will be for at least the next 3 hours. So we're going to finish this process indoors. After cooking these things sous vide, they are just insanely tender. I'm going to apply a glaze, and I made too much here. I made twice as much as I needed to. You really only need about 1/4 cup of my barbecue sauce, that's 60 ml, and then 1 tablespoon of keto honey, and I'll link to this down in the description below. Using a brush, I'm going to coat all these on the tops and sides. You don't need to worry about flipping them and getting the bottom. There'll be plenty of flavor to go around. And since my electric smoker is out of commission, I'm going to use the oven here. And I'm going to cook these at 240 degrees, that is 117 Celsius, for another hour. Or until the pork bites have a nice lacquered look about them.
Oh, it's like candy. Oh, this should be perfume right here. That is just ridiculously good. Wow. You want to try it out, Connor?
Sure. Very good. Very tender. Just delicious.
All right, wife.
Smells like butter. Great flavor. Barbecue, smoky. Good job, Jer. Good job.
I said this at the outset. This has become perhaps my new favorite recipe. It just has everything going for it. The taste and the texture. I mean, the texture, you've got this exterior bark that is just wonderfully caramelized and just a little bit sticky. And then the interior is just so mouth-watering, melt in your mouth, succulent. It's just mind-blowing. And I don't know how much the sous vide reheat had to do with that, but you know, if you wind up trying it and you don't do sous vide, I'd love to hear how it works out for you. Is the texture maybe a little bit closer to steak? Definitely the sous vide made this just buttery. It was unbelievable. So give it a try and let me know down in the comments below how it works out for you. Thanks for watching.